Hello, and thanks for joining me. My name is Mr. Jake Schweich, and I am the business and cybersecurity teacher here at Melbourne High School. I teach business and applied cybersecurity classes, so digital information technology, international business systems, accounting applications 1, computer and network security fundamentals, and cybersecurity essentials. Obviously, I'm not teaching all of these this semester. Just this semester, I just have the DIT or Digital Information Technology and the networking, computer networking security fundamentals course. This open house presentation is for the Digital Information Technology class, or DIT. This class is a basic overview of current business and information system trends with an emphasis on developing fundamental computer skills. The final for this course is Microsoft Office Specialist Word 2016. If the students earn the Office Specialist Word 2016 certification, they can attempt to earn the full Microsoft Office Specialist bundle, which is Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They can also work for their Microsoft Technology Associate Windows Operating System Fundamental certification as well. These are real industry certifications that are recognized outside of the academic world and are very valuable. We found there's actually a lot of students that have found their way into a job because of some of these certifications. I use a blended learning model, so that means that we use both online and offline learning. One of the things that I use is Microsoft Teams. I use this instead of Google Classroom, and the reason being, a lot of the stuff that we do, especially in this class, is Microsoft Office related. So Excel files, Word files, PowerPoint files. And what I found early on is that the Google Classroom does not play well with those types of files. So Teams is the Microsoft equivalent of Google Classroom. So we use Microsoft Teams. It's going to look something like this. And what you'll see is for my brick and mortar students, they're going to have access to the general channel, and they'll have uh, different things in here. And my e-learning students will have an additional channel for their e-learning. We also use testout.com. This is a platform that we use. This is a training platform. And what happens with the students is they'll have videos in here, and then there's actually labs that they get to do inside the system that simulates whatever it is, whatever class. So like with digital information technology, in their labs, it'll actually resemble using Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, different applications on the computer, and they'll actually do it inside the system. The reason that I like TestOut is because it works very well on PCs or on Macs and Chromebooks, and it's because it's a web-based platform. They're not required to download any additional software. Some things that I do, especially for my e-learning students, is I have a daily check-in, and I use a Microsoft form for that. And what I need them to do is in the first 10 minutes of every day, I need them to check in. And I use this for attendance purposes. And so students that are my e-learning students, they can find this a couple different ways. They can either go to the e-learning channel on Teams, and their daily check-in is right up here. They just fill this out and click submit. I need them to do that in the first 10 minutes of every day. Or another place that they can find it is if they go to the web page for this class on Focus. They can go to the resources tab, and you'll see that right here is the daily check-in, and that just takes them directly to the same form. All of my students, whether they're brick and mortar or e-learning students, are required to do a weekly checkout through Flipgrid. Typically, what's going to happen is we'll have an assignment in Teams. So they'd go into assignments, and they would find that they would have a Flipgrid assignment in here for their weekly checkout, and they would just go in and they can access it through here. Also, they can download the Flipgrid app to their phone, or they can go to Flipgrid and log in there. And typically what I do with this is it's more kind of like a metacognition. So rather than going over specific content for the course, it's I'm asking them to kind of think about what happened that week. And so I ask them, what's something you struggled with this week? What is something that you did well this week? And what is something that you need to be successful for next week? And so, what our research has found in the educational field is that when students think about what their learning process, they actually retain more information and do a better job later on. So, that's the weekly checkout. It's typically due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. It actually closes and locks at that point, and so it is time sensitive. I've had a couple students over the last several weeks that they come to me afterwards and can you unlock it? And it is only worth 5 points, so it's not nobody's going to fail the course by not doing their weekly checkouts, but it is enough that if they consistently are missing their weekly checkouts, it could be the difference. Like they're on the cusp between an A and a B or a B and a C. It could be the difference between those. The test out sections are each worth 10 points apiece. We typically do 4 to 5 sections a week. And the point breakdown for that is they get 5 points for watching the videos, because what we found over spring at using this is that the students that watch the videos and listen to it, they tend to do better on all aspects of the training. So I give points for watching the videos, and then 2 points for completing all the labs, and then 2 points for completing the concept question quiz, and 1 point for finishing on time. And then each of the chapters has an end of chapter exam, and that is worth 50 points. Another thing that they're going to have is, because this is an this is a CTE class, they won't take a final like they would in a normal class. They actually take the industry certification, and that is not scored as a final like they would in like a math or an English class. So what we do is we actually add that in as a graded component in the semester. So the required certification test is the Microsoft Office Specialist Word 2016, and that is worth 200 points. Now, every student has to make at least one attempt on this, and the test itself is graded on a 1,000 point scale. And so if they get a 700 or better, that's actually a passing grade or for that certification, and they earn the certification. So if they earn that certification with a 700 or better, I give them a 100 or a 200 out of 200 in the grade book. Other scores will be graded as a percentage plus 20 percentage points. So if a student gets a 60% on the test, they would get an 80 in the grade book. And I basically take the best score. They have to take this multiple times. I take the best score out of that. They can take it up to 3 times, and everyone needs to take it at least once. One thing that I do want to say, especially for our e-learning students, is all certification exams have to be taken here on the Mel High campus. And this is not my rule. This is not a Mel High rule. This is actually the Florida Department of Education has said that any of these industry certifications have to be taken here on campus. And the reason is this is a real industry certification, and there's money attached to it, funding, and so they want to, just like with a ACT or an SAT, they want to make sure that the student that's getting credit for it is actually the student taking the test. Um, for students to stay up to date on what I'm doing, I maintain lesson plans on Focus and on Microsoft Teams. So if you go into Focus into the web page, you'll see that I typically will list out each week. In addition to that, you can go to the resources tab, and you can see that I have the lesson plans here, and this just takes you to my plan book site, and this will show the students both the lesson plans for this week and the next week. And then I also have that linked in our BPS team. So if they click on that, it takes them directly to the plan book again, and this is this week's and next week's assignments. If the students misbehave in the class, the latter is the first issue is a warning. After that, I will contact their parents or guardians, and they could potentially lose some privileges associated with that behavior, and then a disciplinary referral. The exception to that would be for the electronics, because the electronics policy at Mel High is more strict. The ladder is a little bit shorter. So personal devices should not be used in a way that disrupts learning. A lot of times, because of the nature of the work that we do in this class, I don't prohibit devices. There are some times, especially in DIT, well, they'll spend most of the class period typing or creating documents, and so I allow students to listen to music while they do that. But I feel that I feel that they need to be making progress. So if they're on their phone and doing that instead of the assignment, or if they're find it necessary to change their playlist every couple of minutes, I'm going to ask them to stop and put the phone away, and they may not be allowed to listen to music anymore. Also, if they're using a classroom computer, they cannot be used for online gaming. As I said previously, I teach applied cybersecurity, and one of the things that we found is a lot of those online gaming platforms have actually have been suspect with malware. And with the student computers here at the school, if we get some sort of malware on this computer, it could potentially just damage my computer, which is money that would come out of my program, or it could infect the network. And with tens of thousands of devices on the BPS network, that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. So they cannot use them for online gaming. The exception would be things like typing.com or cool math games. I usually give the students a list of sites that they can use because those are sites that I vetted and made sure that they're relatively safe. Improper use of electronics will result in a warning and then a disciplinary referral. As I said, the ladder is a little bit shorter on this one, and that is because the electronics policy at Mel High is a lot stricter. If you have any questions or comments, need more information or direction on this, you can email me at schweich.jacob@brevardschools.org. I tend to be on my computer a lot because of the nature of this class, and so if you email me, I try to get back to you fairly quickly. You can also contact me through Focus, and if, like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.